Hey, comic book fans, what is happening? Welcome back to Comic Book Corner 2.0. And guys, yes, you're always with me, Mike Spider Slayer, getting ready to bring you another episode of, let me see if I can find it here. After the Pull After the Pull, episode 7. This is titled Number One Fun, right? This is probably not the most greatest title in the world. It's actually kind of cheesy, but nevertheless, that's what I came up with this week because there were a lot of number one comic books that actually came out this week, and I think a lot of them were fun. So we'll get into those books. But guys, I just want to say thank you so much for watching the show. Hopefully you will enjoy it. Sorry there was no show last week, but I had to actually do my job and teach tennis out of school last week. So that took up my whole entire day. So yeah, so we're going to have a lot of fun this week. Quick question. Did you guys get Disney Plus? That's what I'm asking everybody, because I did do that video with Disney Plus on how it was day one. It was a headache. And I want to know if you guys got yours running, because mine is actually running now. I'm able to watch Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. I watched The Mandalorian. It was actually a lot of fun. It was a great ending to that first episode. I don't want to spoil anything for people, but it was a really, really great show. But I appreciate all the people that did watch my Disney Plus video. It had a lot of likes and stuff like that. So let's check out the comments real quick before we jump into what I'm going to cover today. And Tone Loke joins the show and says, "Ladies and gentlemen, we are live." Yay, that's awesome. And Rob says, "Sup?" What's up, Rob? Next, we have Gamma Rays Comics says, "My man, Spider Mike." That's right, I am here. Scoundrel Gaming Superheroes Are My Life says, "Well, hello, Mike. I might be getting a job at AMC. I'm excited. Does that mean free movies? That would be cool." Randall Kemp, hello, first time live. Welcome, Randall. Hopefully you enjoyed the show. I really appreciate it. And then also says, "Yes, love it." My main man, Coffee Breath, says, "What's up, y'all?" I don't know why it didn't show up there. There we go. And then let's see. Who else we got on here? Giving the shout outs. Tone Loke says, "No to Disney Plus." Big Lion says, the cat is here. Roar. We should give a big roar out there. Rob says, "That's exactly how I said it too." And Cheatown Bud, he gives a thumbs up every time he watches one of my videos. So right back at you, right? And Scoundrel Gaming says, "Don't have Disney Plus yet. I'm waiting for the MCU TV shows. Both of them are filming. WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier is filming right now. So when they come, I'll be buying it." Just wanted to let you guys know, if you were not familiar with this, Verizon, if you're a Verizon customer, you can actually get the service for free for an entire year. I'm a Verizon customer, so I get it for free right now. So I got nothing to lose. All right, so let's see. Randall says, "Yes, no issues for me." That's great to hear. And Gamma Ray says, "Please, no Excalibur talk today." That book comes out next week, I think. And Fetal Ape joins the show. So thank you so much, guys, for joining. We have currently 13 viewers, so nice little start here to this week's show. So let's go over the books that I will be talking about this week. So we're going to be talking about the Dollhouse Family, issue 1. We're going to be talking about the Family Tree, issue 1. We're going to be talking about Morbius, issue 1. We're going to be talking about Fallen Angels, issue 1. Spider-Man Black Cat Wedding, right? And then the only issue 2 out of the bunch, because we have to talk about it, is X-Men issue 2. And it's titled Two Islands, Get It On? You'll see what I'm talking about in a little bit, guys. So, yeah, this is kind of a cool week because there were so many #1 comics here. Let me get my name off of there real quick. All right, so there we go. And looking forward to it. So, all right, check the comments real quick before we get started. And one we have, Richard Oliveri says, Comic Book Corner 2.0, greetings from the Caribbean. That's awesome. Thank you for watching. So cool. And then Scoundrel asks, have you read Harley Quinn Volume 2 of Joker Loves Harley? I was reading before this, LOL, just eating for a car ride. I usually read when I'm in cars. So you were reading during the car ride. That's cool. I'm not sure. I probably not have read Harley Quinn Volume 2. All right. So let's get started, guys, with this week's comics. And the book that we're going to talk about this week first. Oh, yeah. Well, let me get this out of the way, too. This is all show parameters, okay? So if you like this show, subscribe and like. And if you want, let's throw this up there. Let's talk comic books. Now we can get the banners up there. Let's talk about the Dollhouse Family issue 1. Let's talk about that one, okay? Yeah, this book is creepy, okay? This one is done by Joe Hill. It's called Hill House Comics, and it's under the banner of that. And this is considered DC's Black Label as well because there's a lots of violence and creepiness and a little bit of sex in it and stuff like that. My only thing is when you have a DC Black Label book, you expect some premium covers, right? But you don't get that. You just get like a normal comic book, but it's labeled DC Black Label. So you have that. But the Dollhouse Family, okay, it's a creepy book. This girl, she gets this dollhouse sent to her. It takes place in 1979. That's when it first takes place. And she gets it from her great aunt. And she has this abusive father. And her mother obviously loves her very much. And her dad loves her too. But the father doesn't know how to deal with, being yelled at. And everyone should be in its place and stuff like that. And what happens is you wind up seeing the little girl play with the dollhouse, and she really likes it, right? She loves all the people. There's little people inside of it and whatnot, and you find out that there's this backstory going on with some creature that's fallen beneath the earth, and there's some explorers exploring it back in like 1800s or whatever it is, and you're still kind of curious on what's going to go on with that, but who cares about that part? I cared about the little girl exploring this dollhouse. And what she finds out is the people inside this dollhouse, they're freaking alive, dude. They're in there and they're talking to her. And like all of a sudden it's like, oh, hey, wouldn't you be freaked out by this? I get it. She's a little girl and she's like, this is the greatest thing ever, right? These dolls are alive. And what happens is they're like, well, how would you like to come inside the dollhouse? And they're like, oh, I don't know how is that possible. And you just got to say the magic words. So she goes and she says the magic words. Okay. And the next thing you wind up seeing is she shrinks down in size and she plays in this dollhouse. And she wishes that her abusive father, like something would happen to him because she hates when he beats her. Okay. And so that's what happens there. And the next thing you wind up seeing is that she goes into this mysterious black room, and no one goes into the black room except once ever. And it kind of looks like this. You get to see her in that black room and whatnot. Okay. And it gives her the ultimatum. The dollhouse says, I can come out and use my powers once. Okay, and take care of the situation, but you have to live in the dollhouse forever. And she's like, but I don't want to leave my mom alone. Okay, and so the next thing we wind up finding out is that she goes, well, I guess I'll just do it on my own. So instead of leaving her mom by herself and being part of the dollhouse, she takes the freaking hammer and she freaking cracks the dad right in the freaking back of the head. And I guess he's dead. And that's kind of how the book ends, dude. It's very dark, like I understand her reasoning there. It's kind of like, well, I love my mom. I love this dollhouse. It'd be cool to be part of this dollhouse, but I don't want to leave her alone. And my stepdad or my dad is an asshole, so I'm just going to kill him. I'm going to knock him off. So that's pretty cool. It's actually a really, really good book. The art is dark. It's creepy. It has this dark tone to it. I definitely say go out and purchase this book. I'm so intrigued on what's going to happen here with issue 2. This was a great read. I definitely go out and suggest it. I think this one may have skipped people's, list this particular week because, yeah, there are so many comics. There are so many number ones. And it's just kind of hard to see, what you're going to buy this week. A couple of people messaged me about books from DC eventually going to $7.99. Which I think is quite interesting. I think when they have this new 5G line coming out, sounds like a cell phone line. And I don't know if that's going to hold up, but if books are $7.99 every single book, I think it's time to stop collecting. I mean, I don't know, at least on the DC side of things. I hope not every book goes to $7.99. That would definitely be not a good thing for sure. But for right now, books are $3.99 for the most part. The Dollhouse family is definitely a recommendation. I definitely say pick that up. And it's a little scary. I mean, a little creepy. And we'll see what happens going forward with it. All right. So let's go back to some of the comments that we have here. Let's see. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. Gamma Rays were saying, I guess, that Harley Quinn Volume 2 is good. And let's see, what's another one here? Scoundrel Gaming says, sorry about that bad spelling. It's no worries. I'm not a great speller either. If there wasn't for spell check on cell phones and computers, then I would be spelling wrong all over the place. What's that Dollhouse? Sounds interesting. Yeah, the Dollhouse book is good. And then Gamma says, yeah, I heard they cheesed out that Black Label cover. I don't know if it was for that particular issue. I don't know if there was something supposed to be more dark than that, but nevertheless, it was a good book at least. So Scoundrel Gaming says, wait, she killed her dad? What? Yeah, man, she killed her dad. But her dad in the issue was a complete ass. He would beat her mom all the time, every chance it got. And in the book, it really said, your dad is going to eventually wind up killing your mom and you're not going to have your mom. So that's why the Dollhouse gave her those thoughts to possibly do that. So yeah, really a creepy ass book. Let's see. I don't think all books would go to $7.99. That's what Coffee is saying. I'm pretty sure I agree with you there, that they won't. I can't see it happening. People would not buy these books. It's not even an affordable hobby anymore. Even for me, if books all became $7.99. That's the way I look at it. So yeah, hopefully not. Okay. I saw this actually, I got this message to me, like I said, and then I checked out Ethan Van Sciver's podcast or show or video that he did. And he did this thing on $7.99 comics that DC is doing. If you guys want to check that out, go ahead. And, form an opinion for yourself. Johnny Rio says, are the magic words Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice? It's kind of funny because there are some crazy words that are said in there, and I can't even remember what is actually said. Maybe it's at the end of the book, because she says these words and she becomes small and she becomes big again. Let's see if it's at the very end. One by one go down. I don't know if that's what it's called. Oh yeah, it is part of it, but then it's for a much darker thing. All right. And Cheetown Bud says, what about the side story? What's that about? Where they found the dollhouse? I don't know. The only thing about the little bit of the side story when it comes to that, where was these travelers, and they were in this cavern, and one of the traveler winds up finding this like big monster under the ground, and then he comes across a female, and the next thing you wind up seeing is like she has sex with him, and like I think the explorer dies. That's all I got out of it. That part of the story was really, really weird. So let's see. Two Gun Pedro says, I wouldn't be able to continue the hobby if all comics became $7.99. Yeah, I agree, because like I said, it does not become an affordable hobby at that point. Comics were always that hobby that you could afford. Like, there's 20 books out there. If you spent, $2 on a book, you could get a decent amount of those books. $3.99 is pushing the line. And then now you get some books that are $4.99, but they add more content. These $7.99 books claim that they're going to add much more content to it. But I don't think people want to pay $7.99 for a comic when there's so much other media out there to look, to entertain you, right? You have the movies. I mean, you're basically paying almost, now you're getting close to a movie ticket. You have video games, right? Where you pay $60 for it, but you get hours of entertainment for it. You have your own damn cell phone, right? You have your cell phone. Games are for free on there. You don't have to pay anything unless you want in-app purchases. So there's a lot competing against comics. Comics should not raise the price that high. You want to keep it cheap. You want to keep it affordable and entertaining for people. I get things cost more money and you got to pay people and stuff like that. But I truly believe if you keep it at the right price, people are going to buy more. They're not going to buy more if you raise the price. They're going to buy less. All right. Coffee Breath says, do you think $7.99 was a good value for Harleen? That I do. But see, I can't, if say for instance, when every book was to come out like that, $7.99 a book, that would be a problem. For one book, it's not a problem. It's 64 pages or something like that. But 64 pages, I think is too long for a comic book. That's it's like a novel. Like, I don't need to read a book that long. Like, I love the Harleen story, but unfortunately, when it comes to the length of the book, I don't need it to be that long. I thought it was a little bit too long. 30 pages, 40 pages, fine. 64 pages, it's too long. Just make it a longer series. People could resort to online reading. Now, that would be sad because there's these online sites that you can read comics for free. And we don't need that. Then that what's going to happen is the industry is going to go under altogether. So I definitely don't ever recommend that, to read books online. And hopefully books don't go digitally forever, like just digital books. I want physical copied books. Okay. And then let's see. Gamma says, yeah, it was fair price for the book. Yeah, it definitely was. But not every book can be that way. And then Scoundrel says, I think DC should do $7.99 for Omnibus, maybe. Omnibus is different. That's huge, right? There's a lot of books. There's a lot of stories being told in Omnibus. So those books got to be a lot of money. They're bounded. They're in a hardcover. There's a lot more that goes into that. I can see $7.99 for a trade or whatnot, but even that might be a little bit cheaper for trade. I mean, but look at Image Comics. They released the first trades of some of their series for like $9.99. And that is like 6 issues. So let's hope it doesn't come to that, guys. But like I said, if you want to check out that video, go on over on Ethan Van Sciver's stuff. I don't agree with everything that he says, so take it for a grain of salt. I'm not the reliable source here. It was from another website. So, okay. All right. So let's move on now to the next book that we're going to talk about. It was a great conversation there, guys. And next is going to be the Family Tree issue 1. I appreciate the 16 viewers that are on right now watching, so thank you. And when it comes to the Family Tree issue 1, when I saw the premise of the book, and here's the story right here. When I saw this, I was like, this is weird. Like, how does a girl turn into a tree? Why does she turn into a tree? Like, how does that even work? And how do you stop it from happening? And so this book is crazy though, man. It's so good. It's like an apocalyptic thing, but this is happening to people and they're slowly turning into trees, right? Okay, so this book takes place in 1997. So this is in the late 90s. And we get to see our main character in this book. Her name is Loretta. And she is divorced. She has an older son that's in high school. She has a younger girl a daughter, and she's trying to work and make ends meet and whatnot. And what happens is she realizes that, life is just kind of passes you by and people don't take it seriously, but you never know when it's going to end. And what happens in this issue is it's kind of funny because everything you see in this issue, there's like trees in the foreshadowing, it's kind of there, they're over there, and whatnot. And as Loretta gets this phone call from her school, we wind up seeing that her daughter has this rash on her actual arm, and it kind of looks like, like roots or something like you would see when you pick a weed from the ground or whatever. And her mom's like, oh, we'll keep an eye on that. We'll put some cream on it when we get home. And she's like, okay. So she winds up going to the school and she talks to the principal about her son. Her son's has problems. He had a bag of marijuana on him. And it looks like that it's actually Loretta's, the mom's, because she smokes some weed too. So, kid's not bad kid, but he's having some troubles, right? So mom doesn't take any shit from the principal. She just says, listen, I'm going to deal with this at home. And she walks away. Then we wind up getting to see this mysterious man with a beard. And he gives the daughter a actual, I don't know, something, but you really don't know. So as our main characters wind up going home, they're eating dinner, and then the mom notices that the rash is getting kind of bad. Like, when do you take your kid, to the hospital with something like this, right? I mean, look at that right here. It's like brown and shit, and it's taking over her arm, and you're like, oh, shit. And they're like, ew, gross. And the daughter's like, oh, shut up. And so he's like, okay, well, we're going to go to the doctor and we're going to get this taken a look at. And she's like, she goes, I think it's on my back too, mommy. Now, when do you not notice this? Look at that. So all of a sudden she's got a tree branch growing out from her back. And you're like, oh my God, that's freaking sick, right? And the mom is the same thing. She's kind of like, oh my God. She's like, what the heck is happening there? So she's like, we're going to the hospital right now. We're leaving to go to this hospital. So daughter's freaking out, kids freaking out, everyone's freaking out. They're freaking out so bad they get into a car wreck. There's all kinds of bad people there as well, trying to rob them and whatnot. The next thing you wind up seeing is one of the bad guys shoots the dude in the head, and it's the man with the beard. And you're like, oh shit. So that's kind of crazy. But you find out that the man with the beard is actually related to the family. So I'll say that. Man, oh man, this was a weird book. And hopefully you guys can see me okay. I know I don't have the best quality image. I have a Chromebook that I use, and I connect my webcam to it, but I can't adjust the settings on it because Chromebooks are funny that way. So I can't get the best quality picture on these live feeds compared to like my normal everyday video. But here is the family tree number 2. This is a girl like completely turned into a tree, man. She can't even walk anymore. So this is like an apocalyptic thing, because when you read the narration of this, it's said in the narration that this is when the world decided to die, or something happens. And it looks like that people slowly become trees. And there's no more people. They just become trees. So very, very weird, okay? Done by Jeff Lemire. So if you like Lemire's writing, you might like this. And then it's done by Phil Hester, who does the artwork in here. So this one definitely caught my eye. This was a really good book this time around. I definitely say I go out and buy this one too, guys. This was really, really a lot of fun. So great stuff when it comes to the family tree here. I'm curious to know if you guys picked up the family tree, right? Because after reading it, I want more of it. All right, so let's see here. We got some comments there. Let's see what we got here on comments. All right, so Gamma Rays Comics. A girl turns into a tree. Yeah, and the faces is like, what? Let's see what's next. Scoundrel Gaming says, now I know the origin of Groot. Now, LOL, humans turn into trees, team trees, LOL, that's funny. Right? I know, that's what you got to think of. And I wonder if Jeff Lemire got that. Like, I wonder if he's like, I'm going to make a tree person. Kind of like Groot, I guess. And, I don't know. It's just weird. And Gamma Ray says, those kind of trees. Oh, man, that's so funny. And then let's see. What kind of trees were you thinking of, Gamma Rays? Oh, so they're talking to each other. Randall Kemp says, well, how many issues is this? I don't know. I didn't look it up. As far as I know, it's an ongoing for right now. Could be probably 6, 7 issues. I don't know, but whatever the case, it's good. Wherever the story ends, it ends. I can't see it going on for too long because eventually everyone's going to turn into a tree, right? So we'll see what happens with it. And Johnny Rios Castro says, if you don't like these trees, try Trees. 3 Fates, also from Image. I actually have that book as well. I read both issues of that. Still have to read the 3rd issue. That's a pretty good mystery book. So great stuff there. All right. So let's move on to our next books here. The next one is probably one maybe you guys don't read on a normal basis. So I don't know how much conversation there'll be on this particular book. But this was Spider-Man and the Black Cat. They had a wedding. Yeah, they did. You guys didn't know that? They got married. They did. Not really. It's kind of a fake out. But here's this this particular cover right here. Sorry about the glare. Really nice cover by J. Scott Campbell. And kind of throws back to back in the day when Spectacular Spider-Man hit, what was it, issue 300 or something like that. And they had a wedding, possibly wedding, or what if wedding with them. I don't know. But nevertheless, in this particular issue, let me turn this around. I don't read Black Cat because, first of all, I don't like the artwork inside of it. And I wasn't interested in the story. But this annual was actually really well written. And being that Spider-Man was in this book and Black Cat were in it together as a team, it was wonderfully written. It was a great story with these two together. And it makes me like them as a couple, like how they should be together. The artwork is really well done in this particular annual. And this is not the regular artist on this particular book. Black Cat is gorgeous looking in this book. Spider-Man looks good. The facial expressions look really, really well done in this book. And it makes you want to look at the book and makes you, it engages you in the story. So it's a really nice book to look at visually while you're reading it. But what happens in this book is that Cat actually asks Spider to marry him. Okay. And he's like, what? Are you freaking kidding me? And then you wind up getting to see them in a dress together and a tuxedo. And this all has to do with the mafia and the Magia. Is that what it is? And there's this tradition when two parties are at war with each other, the prince and the princess that are going to get married have to duke it out in a war to death. And whatever's left standing is the victor. It's the weird tradition, right? So basically Spider-Man and Black Cat trick them all, pretending to be the prince and princess. They go underground and they wind up stealing a shit ton of money. It's like $3 million in cash. And the only reason why Spidey does this with Black Cat is because she says that she'll donate half the money to charities of New York. So that's why Spider-Man actually goes along with the plan. It's $3 million, but Cat tells Spider $2 million. So very particular, very much in character of Black Cat. Okay. So they pull off this whole thing, and it was just really well done. They posed as the prince and princess. The prince and the princess wind up living happily ever after at the end. It's like a Disney tale. But it was fun. It was like this great romance type of book. Something that you would like to see. When it comes to Black Cat and Spider-Man, their relationship continued to grow, because at one point when it came to Spider-Man and Black Cat, their relationship sucked, especially when Dan Slott actually wrote them. They were just actually horribly written, and Black Cat was even in the radar of Spider-Man. And here they get to do an adventure together, and it was just done so wonderfully. And I love this book. It really was well done. only if the artist was actually on this book more often, I would like it more. And if Spider-Man was in this book more often, it would be great. It would be cool if we did a Spider-Man team-up book and just have Spider-Man and Black Cat. I would love to see that series. I don't care about Black Cat just on her own, because these two, they work together. And if he wasn't with Mary Jane, I would love to see these two in a relationship with each other. And it's good too, because they weren't making fun of the relationship. He wasn't, they weren't like saying, oh, well, where's Mary Jane? It was referenced in here where, they once made a great couple, and Spider-Man needed to get home to Mary Jane, that hot redhead of his. So that was really cool. And they still remain good friends and colleagues. And great book, though. It was great, a lot of fun, action-packed type of book. So good stuff there from that one, I was kind of curious to see, well, what is this wedding, So, yeah, cool stuff. All right, so let's go back to the comments here. Let's see what everyone else says here. Let's go back 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I think we had 11 of them. Let's see. Scoundrel says, how long are streaming for? I might have to leave for a couple minutes. LOL. Whenever I get done. I probably won't go more for about 2:15. No, longer than 2:15. Probably no longer than 2:30, because I got to get my kids from school. All right, next. Randall says, I love Black Cat. I love her too. I actually love her more than Mary Jane, just because Peter can have someone relate to when it comes to him being a superhero. But I do love Mary Jane because she knows his secret, and it's another person he can vent to. And I love her personality as well. But I always loved Black Cat because of the 1990s Spider-Man cartoon. I just loved the way she was in there. So, and I fell in love with her. All right, next, Get Hype says that Campbell goodness. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Can't go wrong. Anytime he has a cover, I try to pick one up. Scoundrel says, Spidey got married to Black Cat original universe, or is it in the Ultimates? No, it was like a what if story. Like, what if Spider-Man married Black Cat, I think it was. And something like, I think he proposed to her in issue 300 is Spectacular. So there's something like that. It was referenced in there. Fetal Ape says, any action? Yeah, there's lots of action in that book, actually. It was cool because they pretended to be Hydra agents and as well, and then they defeated some robots inside and avoided some booby traps and good. But the thing that made that story was the dialogue inside. The writing of that story is what really made it for me. Scoundrel says, am I the only one that thinks this? I hear Tom Holland's voice when I read Spider-Man issues. I don't think of Tom Holland when I read Spider-Man issues. As much as I love Tom Holland as Spider-Man, I still think to this day it's a mix between the Spider-Man 90s cartoon and Spider-Man and Amazing Friends sometimes. But I think it's more often the 90s cartoon that's where I hear my voice when Spider-Man speaks. Michael says, at Scoundrel Gaming, superheroes are my life. I hear Robert Downey Jr. when I read Iron Man now. That I can agree with, because he's been in Iron Man books for so long, or Iron Man stories for so long, that I see that too. Because I remember, like, when I first saw Robert Downey as Iron Man, I was kind of like, oh, he's pretty, he fits the part perfect. And like, that's the voice I've always wanted to hear when I first saw him on screen. And same thing now, every time I read Iron Man, that's how I hear his voice. So it's really cool. Get Hype says, Felicia over MJ any day of the week. Why is that? I'm just curious. I mean, I love her too, but I'm just curious, why do you think? And then Gamma Ray says, Michael, I find myself associate characters with the actors' voices too. I think a lot of us do. That's how we read them, right? If I was the X-Men, Spider-Man could be with MJ and Felicia. He's going back to that X-Men issue 1 with the adjoining rooms. Oh boy, that's so funny. Great stuff, guys. Thank you so much for the comments. Thank you for watching, everybody. 28 viewers right now. You guys are awesome. And thank you for the support of the channel. Again, give this video a like, guys. Let people know that this show exists so more people can watch it. You know, I'm trying to let everyone know that my channel exists out there. All right, so let's go on to the next book. Let's find the banner for it. The next one is going to be Morbius, issue 1. Surprisingly good. Morbius is a Spider-Man villain, right? Not even a real A-lister, you know? He's like a B-lister villain. So it's like, why would I care about Morbius issue 1, right? And me, I was literally on the fence about buying this book. And then I saw a preview of it, and then I started my new series doing previews every week for a particular book that is coming out. And when I read the preview and then I did the preview on myself, I'm like, man, this book actually looks really good. I'm like, I love the artwork. It's kind of, you know, it's very mysterious. It's dark. It's not, oh, I'm Michael Morbius and I'm going to find a cure for my disease and I love you. And it's not cheesy. It's dark, this particular book. And pardon my expression, I have no idea where that came from. I think same thing. I may have been watching Spider-Man from the 90s. And I think that's the way he spoke when he was in that show. But this book was cool. So in this book, we learn about the Melter. You guys know the Melter. He's an Iron Man character. He has tech and stuff like that. And he's working with some formulas. And he's trying to test it on the people that work for him. And then the next thing you wind up seeing is that his people wind up getting attacked. And what this book does is that it keeps Morbius in suspense for a little bit. You don't really get to see him that much. It's kind of like you're watching Aliens, the movie. The alien, the monster's right around the corner, and you see the shadows of them. And, you know, as the viewer, you know, you're kind of trying to watch the show. And you're like, dude, I want to see the monster, you know. And so the book takes a few pages, and then you finally get to see Morbius. And he looks like this. And you're like, oh, dude, that looks great. It's very dark. It's very gritty. And you get to see him attack everybody. Now, he doesn't kill anybody. He just really wounds them pretty bad. And he tries to take this formula that the Melter created because he feels that with some modifications that this can heal this problem that he's had forever, as obviously being this living vampire. Now, the reason why he's a living vampire is because he had a rare blood disease to begin with. And so what happens is that's why he originally injected himself, okay? So he winds up injecting himself again. You think he would learn from his mistakes, okay? But this time it actually works. It heals him. He has normal eyes. His nose is a little weird, you know, but it gets him to the point to where he doesn't feel any of the cravings or the hunger for blood or for killing or anything like that. And so we wind up seeing that our villains here are recovering from their injuries. They're trying to get, you know, come back to where they came from after Morbius attacked. And you wind up seeing this chick. I have no idea who this girl is. Is it his wife? Like, I don't know. Is she a new character? You guys let me know in these comments if you read this book who she is. But she's obviously a vampire hunter. She's not freaking Blade, right? And so she's going to go after Morbius. Well, once we see her, we get towards the tail end of this book, and we wind up seeing things go horribly wrong for Michael Morbius, and he winds up transformation not only into the Morbius that we once knew, but into a much more monstrous Morbius now, okay? So he's changing, he's morphed. I think he's more monster now than man, where before you would say, he's half and half and he needs blood to survive. Well, now he's more monster because if you see in one of the variant covers, he's actually he actually looks like he can transform into like his limbs can transform like Venom. You know how he can transform, he has wings now and stuff. So it looks like Morbius can transform into a bat. He can do other things. It's like he's much more deadlier based off of what I'm gathering from this one. So this one, again, was surprisingly good. I would recommend this one too. These books were really a lot of fun this week. There was a lot of books where I was like, I don't know if this is going to be any good or if this is going to be bad. Should I pick it up? And I read it, and it's nice. It's good. It's a little bit different, and that's what I liked about these particular stories this week. Everything was, great content. It wasn't boring. It didn't seem like, it was original stories. It hasn't been really done before. Morbius maybe, but it's still good because I couldn't tell you the last time I read Morbius. So if you guys still haven't picked up your books, or if you've been on the fence about buying this one, I definitely say recommend this one too. All right. So let's see what our peoples have to say. All right, guys, I'm glad you're enjoying the show. Thank you so much. Let's see what we have. First comment here, Scavenger says, I got to go in a little bit. LOL. I'll be right back. All right, so we'll see you in a little bit. And we have Frank. Woo, what's up? I hear the 90s Spidey voice when I read comics as well. Can't deny that, right? Smash that like button so hard, it flinches next time you raise your finger. Thank you, Coffee. And Fetal Ape says, I might get that. Sounds trippy. LMAO, great Morbius imitation. I appreciate that. Scoundrel's back. I'll take a Morbius issue any day of the week. DVD. The week DVD, the shitty Morbius film. Sorry about my language, but man, I can't stand Sony. They lack okay films, but not a fan if Sony, unless if it's bad boys. LOL. Okay, let's see. Get Hype says Black Cat is hotter, but she can hang with Spidey and bring out the fun inside of him. MJ just go to wait at home doing the laundry. MJ's a little bit better. She's written better now in Nick Spencer's run. She's a little bit more resourceful, I feel. But Black Cat, in my opinion, is sexier. It's probably more of the, I guess, the more naughty girl that brings out the fun side of Spider-Man. So that's the same reason why I like her too. And she's very persuasive, I think. Gamma says, yes, Morbius. We're picking up after work today. Can't wait for the movie. Johnny Rio says, damn, thanks for the review. Definitely going to pick this up. Oh, I'm glad you liked it. I'm glad this one can help. Again, that's why I do this show. That's why it's called After the Poll, to see if these books live up to that hype, All right. Art looks amazing in Morbius. That's what Frank said. Gamma Ray says, Morbius will be a sleeper comic. You will want to get it. Absolutely. And see, these are the books that I talk about that get left behind, because there's so many comic books that are out there on the shelves that if it's not like main titles, you tend to pass them up, right? And so a book like Morbius gets lost in that shuffle. Then all of a sudden it does like 8,000 in sales, 8,000 copies in sales, or 10,000 copies in sales, and then it ends. This book, who knows? I don't know how long it's supposed to last. But for right now, it's good. And I say pick it up, and maybe this will keep going. It could be a surprise book like how Immortal Hulk was. No one anticipated Immortal Hulk to be as good as it was. And now look at it. It's been a great book all year round, and it's up at issue, going to 28. All right. And then let's see. Oh, I see a familiar face on here. First, we'll get through Randall. Thank you. Great stuff for work right now. My pleasure. And a long time fan. Hold on for a second. Okay. Is Peter Barker. Hello, Mike. Haven't been around in a while. Peter Barker is a longtime watcher of my channel from my original days of Comic Book Corner. He's followed me all through the years. He hasn't been around in a very long time. I'm happy. Hopefully he's back. I hope everything is well, that you're healthy and your family is good. Thank you so much for watching, Peter. Thank you. And Scoundrel Gaming says, do you think we'll get more Black Label content from DC? Oh, yeah, absolutely. they're definitely bringing a lot of DC Black Label stuff. My thing is it needs to be quality stuff, not just fancy covers, you know, and it needs to get away from Batman family stuff. It needs to be different stories, different characters and whatnot. That's why I was hoping that the Dark Multiverse books would be Black Label, but they're not. So that's kind of a shame there. Gamma says Immortal Hulk didn't get any recognition until issue 10. Morbius may do the same. Yeah, very, very true. I agree with you 100% there. Immortal Hulk took a long time. Then once a few people started talking about it, people started reading, and everyone jumped on. I read from the very first issue, and I was quite impressed. Frank goes, have you checked out Disney Plus? They have all the Spidey cartoons. Yes, Frank, we were talking about that earlier, about Disney Plus, trying to figure out who has Disney Plus and who's it working for. If you haven't checked out my video, check out my video on my channel with Disney Plus on day one, because it was a big, big headache. Let's see. Johnny Rio says a collaboration with Jim Mint would be dope. I'm getting a lot of requests from me working with Jem Mint. I watch a lot of his content. I think he's great. I love I don't know how one person can get so much stuff all the time and do so many unboxing videos, but I think it's awesome. And they're great videos. Me and him have been chatting back and forth on IG. So I'm hoping that we can do a collaboration together. Part of it is me. I have such a busy ass schedule where I work at night a lot of the times when I teach tennis, and I got my family and stuff, and then I do my YouTube stuff during the day. Plus he's a little bit on a different time zone. We are definitely going to try to work something out so you guys can see something from both of us. I think it would be a lot of fun. Our personalities, I think, would be hilarious. So yeah. All right, let's see. Isu, is that how you say your name? Kind of curious. Will you be collaborating? There's another one. So like I said, hopefully in the future I will be. So again, we are in talks. So stay tuned. And if you guys haven't checked out Jem Mint, go ahead and check out his channel. It's a great channel. Like I said, he's got all kinds of unboxings on the bus, haul videos like I do each week, arcade one-ups, just anything under the sun. You name it, he gets it. He does a series that's called What's in the Box, where people send him all kinds of stuff and he opens them up, and it's good. It's a good time. So thanks, guys. All right, so let's see. Peter says, all good here, Mike. Glad to be back. Liking the new show. Just got jaded and burned out with comics. But, you know, it's how it is. You never give them up. Oh, yes, my friend. I agree with you 100%. We all need a break every once in a while. That's for sure. Thoughts on the upcoming Green Lantern series. Did it come out yesterday? I didn't. If it did, I didn't check it out because it didn't look like any fun to me. But if I hear some recommendations, I might definitely check it out. And here it says, how often do you read comics? How many hours a day? I read comics every day, but I don't read them all at once. Like I said, I'm very busy. I teach about 30 hours of tennis a week. I work a part-time job. I have my family, and then I fit in these YouTube videos during the day when the family is not here. That's my YouTube time. And so I probably read, like, usually on average, like 3 comics a day. And I probably buy about anywhere from 13 to 17 comics a week. All right. Coffee says, got to go. I'll watch the rest later. Entertaining as always. Thank you, Coffee. Thank you so much, man, for watching. And stream timing is great for me. It's 9 p.m. here, and I'm usually sleeping when the other guys are streaming. All right. And then Gamma says, take care, Mike. Great show, and thanks for the conversation. Love y'all, brother. Thank you so much. Hopefully you can finish watching later. All right, so let's go on to the next book that we're going to talk about right now, and that one is the second to the last book, and this one is Fallen Angels, issue 1. And yes, guys, once again, give this video a like, subscribe, do anything you need to do, that you want to do that takes this channel a little bit further. I really appreciate that. Fallen Angels, though, issue 1 is the newest X book, and I think the last of the new X book #1s that are out for at least a little while anyway, that has to do with Psylocke, the other version, not Betsy. You know, Betsy's in Excalibur. This is, I don't even know how to say her name in this particular book. Quanon, I think that's her name. And we get to see herself separate herself from Betsy as she was been trapped in that body for so long. And now she has this particular mission that she has to do, where she has to take on this Apoth, I think it is. It's kind of a weird book, and it's kind of hard to describe what really goes on. But this does take place right after X-Force. And the death of Professor Xavier looks like it's actually sticking, okay? So here we have that going on in there. So Magneto is currently the one in charge, and it doesn't look like they can actually resurrect anybody without Professor there. And it doesn't look like there's another Cerebro, at least for right now anyway, okay? And we get to see Psylocke as she goes on this particular mission to stop whatever it is that's coming after her. And there's this black market drug that's out there that kills people, and she has to stop this from happening. And she winds up gathering Cable, young Cable, and Laura, I think, together to join this mission. The artwork in this book is a little bit dark. I found it a little hard to see what was going on in this book. And I don't know if that's done on purpose to keep it in, like a mystery aspect or whatnot. But nevertheless, it was a solid read. It wasn't probably my best X book, but it wasn't bad, okay? And I feel like now with these X books, okay, you have to read them because they kind of all cross over together. And in a way, that keeps it very expensive for the reader. But in another way, it's good because what happens is that all the X-Men feel connected. And that's the way the X-Men should feel. When the X-Men don't feel connected, then it's not a good thing. When X-Men Gold and X-Men Blue and X-Men Red and X-Men Black and all those other books that came out, they were like their own titles. And those teams and those mutants all felt in completely different areas. Now with Krakoa and everything else, they're all together and they all seem like they're in one place. And it's a lot of fun. So this book maybe wasn't my favorite. There's a lot going on. It's hard to explain for me, at least on camera. But the thing is that Psylocke is very much a mystery, this version of her. And we're going to learn more of her. And we'll get to see what happens with this team and this black market drug and how they uncover it. And they stop this entity that's taking over because you don't know who this thing is. Okay. So still not my favorite, but I will continue to read it. And maybe I have to read Excalibur, and maybe I have to read New Mutants. Maybe not. Maybe I won't read New Mutants. I did not like that at all. All right. So that was Fallen Angels there. All right. And then probably only got one other comment, I think, since this last time. Peter says, what's your favorite title at the moment, Mike? Mine is Criminal. Man, that's a tough one. There's a lot of them. One of my favorite independent books right now, it ranks really high up there, is Dead Eyes. That book is really good. Definitely say go out and pick that one up for sure. And Get Hype says, love the story. Love that the story follows Psylocke. Her and Magic are my favorite characters. Also, that panel with Magneto sitting on the throne is badass. Yeah, he's pretty badass. And so is Sinister in this book, too. You know, even though they're all working together, they're all have their own little minds working, you know, and I think that's pretty cool. All right. So let's talk about the last book of the day, guys. And we're going to be talking about, let's see, where is it on here? The only number 2 book of the list, and that is X-Men 2, right? 2 islands, they get it on. It happens in this book. 2 islands become 1. That's what happens, okay? Kind of weird. Krakoa and this other island, I forgot the name of the island, wind up joining together to make one island because there's this being on there that's called a summoner that can summon these different beasts, okay? And these summoners are kind of like a reverse version of Mr. Negative. It looks like that, okay? And so quite interesting. And the summoner there's 3 different types. There's a summoner minor who can summon 600 different things or beasts or whatever they are. Then there's a summoner adept who is able to summon a small horde of minor demons or one major elemental. And then there's a high summoner, which there's only one left, and it's able to summon a horde of elementals and up to 3 major demons or daemons or whatever they are. And so these creatures are almost extinct. And so for some reason, there's an actual island. This island just popped out of nowhere, and Krakoa just went right to it, and it basically wanted to mate with it, and it literally like formed together. And in this book, this one really focuses with Cyclops. This is the book that focuses around the Summer family. So you have young Cable, you have Prestige in there, and Scott Summers, who all work together to try and go out and check out this island and see what's it about, what's its inhabitants, what's its beasts, what's living on there before Krakoa makes its way to it, so it doesn't kill it or harm it in any way, which way or form. And this book is kind of comical at first because they can't communicate with the summoner. There's a language barrier between them. So Cable takes it upon himself, and he sits there and goes, "Oh, I'll give him a gift." So he gives him something, and Cable's like, "Yeah, I'm a nice guy. That's why I was able to do this." And he gives him a freaking bomb. And so this summoner clicks on the bomb, not knowing what it is, and it blows them all up. And the summoner gets freaking pissed, and it starts summoning all these creatures. So you get to see like the power set of this summoner, okay? And then what happens is they figure out that they learn to somehow communicate with this creature, and they find out that I guess that it doesn't want to hurt anybody. It wants peace, and it wants the 2 islands to come together. And you see like the 2 islands, they literally like have sex with each other. Like they come together, they mate, whatever it is, and they come together to make one big freaking island. That's what happens. So now you have these summoners, and you have these they have the mutants working together, and this summoner is a child of Apocalypse. So yeah, and that's what happens there. And the island is much bigger now, and now we have multiple life forms living on Krakoa. So cool story. Still yet to be determined really what is the long term of this particular series and this book and Krakoa as a whole and how it affects all the mutants. But there's a lot of shit going on with the mutants at this time, whether what's going on with Krakoa, with freaking with Professor Xavier. I mean, there's a lot of story threads happening in the overall grand scheme of things. Now, whatever ones you read, of course, that's up to you. But some way, somehow, this is all tying in. Even with Fallen Angels, we got to see Betsy try to reach out to the new Psylocke, or to this version of Psylocke, and she kind of was pushed away at the last second. So even these two are going to have some kind of connection, I feel, Excalibur and Fallen Angels. So it all intertwines. So they're smart. They make you want to try to pick up all these books so you know everything that's going on with the actual, mutants. All right. So I got a couple comments here. So it says, Marauders was my favorite of these X books. And then Peter says, try as I might, I can never get into X-Men books. That's unfortunate, Peter. I can understand. If you were away from the comics for a little bit, this X-Men series was really good. And I was skeptical at first with Hickman's writing, but he told a great story and it made me care. And this is the first time in a long time that I could care about these X titles. And I'm digging them, New Mutants, not so much, though. I'm not really a fan of that. Michael says, love the banter between Kid Cable and Rachel. Wonder if he will bring her into the Fallen Angels team as a recruit. We might actually see that. Brother and sister, it's perfect because you never seen Scott. You always seen just Scott and Jean, right? But you never seen them as like a family. You get to see Scott and you get to see brother and sister, and them interacting as brother and sister and arguing and having family problems and stuff like that is great. It adds humor to a book that is otherwise what's going on is kind of dark, you know? And I love how our mutants at this time are not really, they're basically, you know, they got to get over being soft. You know, the party's over, the honeymoon is over. They're starting to realize that we need to take things seriously because of all the shit that has actually happened. I'm really curious to see what happened with Professor Xavier, man. So I'm waiting for that story and what's going to happen after, you know, in X-Force series. That one is my favorite series so far out of all these X books. X-Force, that first issue was freaking action-packed, and it had me at the edge of my seat when I was reading that particular book. It was so good, guys. And so, yeah. So, there you guys have it. Oh, let's see. Let's see if I have any more comments. No, that is it. So, guys, there are all the comics that I'm talking about for today. So, hopefully you enjoyed this episode of After the Poll. I really enjoyed bringing it to you. Stay tuned for next week as I bring you a new group of books that I talk about. And, guys, don't forget to check out all my other content on my channel. Okay, Mondays I have cover of the week. Tuesdays I have most anticipated comics of the week. Wednesdays I have my comic book haul. Thursday I have a comic book after the poll. And then look for on the weekend where I'll give you a preview of upcoming comic book coming up. And then if I shoot any other videos in between that, well, that's just a bonus. So guys, as always, thank you so much for watching Comic Book Corner 2.0. Don't forget to give it a like, subscribe. And guys, you are great. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to watching my channel. So everyone, I'll see you real soon. And have a great weekend. Take care, guys. Bye.